designs for my tech role, which is costume assistant. So I'm going to start with the first one I did, which was for my character Jack, which was this. I drew him in sort of big puffy shorts because he's quite a playful sort of character. Same for the baggy shirt and the hat because the combination's quite fun. Along with the bright colours, which is suitable for the young audience we'd be performing to. The diamonds in the clashing colours also comes from our historical research that we've done because Jack's character actually comes from Arlecchino of Commedia dell'arte, otherwise known as Harlequin. So his typical outfit was to be in a full-bodied suit of brightly coloured clashing diamonds, so that's why I think it would be appropriate for this character. For Alice Fitzwarren's costume, she's in quite a feminine, pretty dress because she's the main female lead and Dick Whittington has to fall in love with her, so she has to be in something quite attractive. It's quite similar to the simple villagers dress that the female villagers are in, only it's a little bit grander and a little bit more embellished because her family has money. Her father is Alderman Fitzwarren, which is basically like similar to a mayor. She's also in blue, which is symbolic of intelligence because she's quite a headstrong, intelligent young woman as a character. Tim's character, he's quite a simple country boy. He's come to London to seek his fortune, so he's not wearing anything that grand. He's not got much money, which is why he's got little details like this patch on his knee and on his hip. His trousers are a bit worn. He's only got simple waistcoat on in simple colours like greens and browns, quite neutral colours, because he doesn't want to be a joke of a character too much like Idle Jack does, because he's not the clown sort of character. And he's a bit of a traveller as well, so I thought it might be nice to put him in a hat with a few feathers in it and some little boots. Got for the basic sailor that the ensemble could wear for the in the Navy number or when they're on the boat. Nothing too eye-catching that's going to draw attention from main characters like Alice or Dick Whittington. The colour scheme would be mainly white, like traditional nautical sort of theme, and nautical sort of colours like little accents of blue and red to tie it all together. I thought this could be quite simple. It could be done all in black, maybe with black leggings and a top sewn together or some sort of black jumpsuit. I'm not sure about footwear, maybe black socks and no footwear because they'll be on their hands and knees all the time. But with a white front to the suit, like a black and white tuxedo cat sort of look. Obviously, cat ears on some sort of headband, and maybe little fluffy accents around the neck and the wrists and the ankles to just add that extra animalistic quality that she's going to have as playing this sort of animal, and a cat's tail that we could make out of some tights maybe and attach to the back of the trousers or the top so that it wouldn't come off when she's crawling around. This one's quite detailed. He's got a lot of little details and items on that make him similar to the other rats, but higher in status. So he's not like a typical king with a crown, but he's got small things like military hats and coats, and everything he wears is a little bit grander than the rat minions that he has. He's wearing a big coat that's quite grand, and he has this large belt here and a ragged green sash that comes down here. Everything he has is quite worn and torn and ragged because he's that evil sort of character and he's a rat, so he sort of lives underground. He's a criminal. To show that sort of evil side to him, there's a sort of theme of green that would be running through. Hopefully it'd be lit in green as well, like is quite traditional for pantomime villains. He's got matted green bits of fur coming out as hair underneath his hat and underneath the ears that we could make out of felt or cardboard maybe and stick to the hat, or stick to a headband underneath the hat. He's also got what hopefully would look like a metal pauldron on his shoulder, and on the other one is some sort of honourable decorative accent on his shoulder. This design uses a lot of asymmetry, which is also typical of villain characters. Costume, which is the Sultan's wife. She has a part where she does a big Bollywood number, so everything is Indian and Bollywood themed, as shown here with like the draping of the fabric. She's supposed to be quite a sexy character, so I've used red as her main colour because that usually symbolises passion or love. She's also a bit grander than the other Bollywood dancers, with a lot of embellishments, because she's essentially the princess of this place that they visit. So she has a lot of gold around the chest and on the neckline here. Again, it's similar to the ensemble sailors that I designed in colour scheme. It's a lot of white and blue to go with the nautical theme. He's also wearing a big grand hat here to show his status because he's the captain, so he's more important. He's also wearing quite a grand coat, and it has yellow gold sort of trim, again to show his status. Plain white trousers would be good, and big boots because he's a captain, and maybe some sort of cravat here because he's going to be quite a wealthy man. This is my design for the rat henchman characters in the ensemble. It's quite similar to King Rat, only lower in status. So similar trousers, similar boots, only he doesn't have a grand coat and he doesn't have such a grand hat either. He's got rat ears to identify him as a rat, hopefully some sort of rat makeup, which is down to the makeup department. His hat's more like a helmet that might have been used in the trenches in World War One, keeping that rough military sort of theme that was going on. He's got braces on instead of this big coat that we can see and the sash that we can see on King Rat. He's still got a rat's tail, and his shirt's all ripped and dirty, and there are dirty marks all over these sorts of characters because they are a lot. They're rats as well as King Rat, but they're also a lot lower status than he is, so they're even dirtier. This is my design for Alice Fitzwarren's wedding outfit, which she should be wearing right at the end of the panto. Not for long, but it's very important to the plot. So I've put her in a traditional white dress and veil, like is traditional for weddings. Her hair down probably, which is actually up to hair and makeup, but I thought it looked quite good with the costume. She does have some gold yellow sort of trim on the dress, which just sort of makes it less boring, and it sort of links back to the accents that she has on her original dress that she wears throughout. This is the design I did for Dick Whittington's wedding outfit. It's similar to Alice's because they have to match in some way. They're getting married. He's still got his hat on, which helps you identify his character, and it, again, like Alice's, is similar to what he wears throughout the entire play, only it's wedding themed, so it's more white and less brown. So and it's got gold trim because he's got more money now because he's Mayor of London by the end. This was my design for Sarah the Cook's costume. She is in a typical dame sort of costume, really big dress with huge skirt, probably lots of petticoats underneath, maybe a hoop in the skirt to keep the shape of it. Everything's got lots of frills along the bottom of the skirt, frills around the apron because she's a cook, and there's a little motif here of kiss the cook, which is adds a little bit to the comedy of her character because she's quite a saucy sort of character. All the colours are really vivid and clashing, because everything has to be quite ugly for the Dane. She's got big bloomers on, which again adds to the comedy of the character. At one point she has to lift up her dress and show her underwear to the audience, so if these were big flowery bloomers, this would be quite funny. Hair and makeup will be sorting out that she does have a really big wig on, probably. Her dress has big puffy sleeves, everything's really big. She might be wearing big boots or heels, we're not sure yet, but I thought these big sort of Doc Martens style boots would suit quite well. This is the design I did for the ensemble for the male villagers that will be milling around at the beginning of the entrance or whenever they're in the city. It's quite generic, colours not too bright but not too dull, so it's not too boring but it doesn't pull focus from the main characters. Everything's quite simple and normal because there are only little characters in the background that join in on the dances. Yeah, so everything's quite simple. It's just quite a normal cotton tunic with a bit of a belt and boots and a little hat because these people will probably be quite poor, so it looks quite rustic and poor looking. This is the female version of the ensemble villagers that I designed. It's a bit similar to Alice's dress, only it's more simple. We could have varied colours for these, but this one is green at the moment to give an example. The colours would be quite dull because the characters in the background can't pull attention from the characters in the foreground. But yeah, the design's quite simple. These people could be anyone. They could be people working in the market or farmers, typical villager sort of characters. This is the design I did for Alderman Fitzwarren. He is Alice's father and he's fairly rich. He owns a lot of ships and a shop, so he's got a lot of money, so his outfit is more grand. He's also of quite a high status in the village, or the town, should I say, where they live. He is wearing a fairly big posh coat with like gold trim. Quite smart trousers, everything's quite smart. He's got a waistcoat and a cravat tie sort of thing. He's also wearing a grey curled wig that's quite posh looking as well, along with his hat. His shoes, if you can see there, are quite posh as well. They're like blue and have a little golden buckle on them. So yeah, his character is quite straight-laced and strict, which shows in his costume because he's quite uptight and posh. This is my costume design for the Sultan. He's wearing traditional clothes that would have been worn by a Sultan in India that have been altered slightly to be achievable for our pantomime. He's wearing the typical headwear that a sultan would wear, which isn't a turban but looks somewhat similar. At the moment we could make that out of a piece of cloth and some foam wrapped in the ring around the head for their headdress sort of thing. This over the shoulders could be made with any sort of red fabric, and there's a lot of gold trim that I know we have at college somewhere in the green room, so we could use that to make this. This top could be quite simple as well. We could find a long black top and use that. A gold belt. There's a lot of colours of red and gold here because it coheres with that of Anisha's character, which is the Sultan's wife, the wife of this character. Um, so yeah, so it all fits together with the other characters in this scene. This is my costume design for Abby's Fairy Bowbells in Cast 1. She is a southern sort of fairy from America. She's a bit of a southern belle, a bit like a cowgirl. So I've kept some of the fairy elements that are really important, like the skirt and the wings, the fairy wand. She might be wearing roller skates as well in the scene as well. Um, she's got the southern elements as well here, like the cowboy hat, the little jackety waistcoat with the cow print on it. But it's only small, so it doesn't interfere too much with the sleeves and the cut of the dress. She's also got little fringed accents here, which are quite typical of the style that she's been based on. This is the costume design I did for the character Neptune. We see him in an underwater kingdom scene with Dick after the ship crashes. So he is a magical sort of character that lives underwater. So I've given his costume very aquatic colours, like this greeny blue here that's quite like the sea, mixed with bits of gold, like for his trident and his crown here, and sandals here, which is a bit like beachwear, which also links to the sea, which is where his character is based from.